No man's knowledge here can go beyond his experience. The end of law is not to abolish or restrain, but to preserve and enlarge freedom. Reading furnishes the mind only with materials of knowledge. It is thinking that makes what we read ours. The only fence against the world is a thorough knowledge of it. Our incomes are like our shoes. If too small, they gall and pinch us. But if too large, they cause us to stumble and to trip. Government has no other end but the preservation of property. The great question which, in all ages, has disturbed mankind and brought on them the greatest part of their mischiefs, has been not whether be power in the world, nor whence it came, but who should have it. Parents wonder why the streams are bitter, when they themselves have poisoned the fountain. Education begins the gentleman, but reading, good company, and reflection must finish him. To love truth for truth's sake is the principal part of human perfection in this world and the seed plot of all other virtues. The actions of men are the best interpreters of their thoughts. Fortitude is the guard and support of the other virtues. Where there is no law, there is no freedom. New opinions are always suspected and usually opposed without any other reason but because they are not common. Every man has a property in his own person. This nobody has a right to but himself. Till a man can judge whether they be truths or no, his understanding is but little improved, and thus men of much reading are greatly learned but maybe little knowing. Liberty is to be free from restraint and violence from others. The reason why men enter into society is the preservation of their property. It is one thing to show a man that he is in error, and another to put him in possession of truth. The mind is furnished with ideas by experience alone. Virtue is harder to be got than knowledge of the world, and if lost in a young man, is seldom recovered. There cannot be greater rudeness than to interrupt another in the current of his discourse. The state of nature has a law of nature to govern it, which obliges everyone, and reason, which is that law, teaches all mankind who will but consult it. All mankind, being all equal and independent, no one ought to harm another in his life, health, liberty, or possessions. The improvement of understanding is for two ends. First, our own increase of knowledge. Secondly, to enable us to deliver that knowledge to others. A sound mind in a sound body is a short but full description of a happy state in this world. He that judges without informing himself to the utmost that he is capable cannot acquit himself of judging amiss. All wealth is the product of labor. A man must bring a little knowledge to what he reads in order to get any knowledge out of it. Curiosity should be as carefully cherished in children as other appetites. The great art to learn much is to undertake a little at a time. Reverie is when ideas float in our mind without reflection or regard of the understanding. Fashion for the most part is nothing but the ostentation of riches. What worries you masters you. It is easier for a tutor to command than to teach. Men always forget that human happiness is a disposition of mind and not a condition of circumstances. The discipline of desire is the background of character. To prejudge other men's notions before we have looked into them is not to show their darkness, but to put out our own eyes. I have always thought the actions of men the best interpreters of their thoughts. The most precious of all possessions is power over ourselves. There are 1,000 ways to wealth, but only one way to heaven. Practice conquers the habit of doing without reflecting on the rule. An excellent man, like precious metal, is in every way invariable. A villain, like the beams of a balance, is always varying upwards and downwards. He that hath a trade hath an estate, and he that hath a calling hath an office of profit and honor. As people are walking all the time in the same spot, a path appears. It is labor indeed that puts the difference on everything. All good and beneficial things, though they may be little understood and less valued, are from the author of all good, which is God. The dread of evil is a much more forcible principle of human actions than the prospect of good. Nothing is in the intellect that was not first in the senses. Learning teaches how to carry things in suspense without prejudice till you resolve.